Awesome, love it. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It is an honor to be here with you. My name is Ramsey, I'm from STX, but you're not here to see me. You are here to see Luc Besson, writer-director of Valerian, and I will introduce him in a second, along with moderator Swoozie. Here at the YouTube space, you know, YouTube really likes to give creators voices, whether you have 500 subscribers or 5 million. And so to have an opportunity to hear directly from Luc about his creative vision, someone who not only is a prolific writer, producer, director, but also has a film school in Paris, I think is a tremendous opportunity for all of us, myself included. So we're really excited to collaborate with the Google team in creating custom, interactive, 360 Valerian videos with some creators that start shooting tomorrow. But in the meantime, today you will have the opportunity to ask Luc some questions while Swoozie's also asking questions. So we have some people with floating microphones. If you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand and they will come and find you and they will get your question answered. So without further ado, I'd like to first introduce your moderator for the evening. You know him as Swoozie. Swoozie, come on down. Thank you, sir. How you doing? All right. And then next up, the guest of honor for the evening, the other guest of honor, writer, producer, director, Luc Besson.
Are we hot? Yeah, I think we're hot. So I'm going to try to get through these as quickly as possible because I know a lot of you guys have plenty of questions. So let's jump right into it. You've been a fan of Valerian forever. Since you were a little kid staring at the cows you mentioned out on your farm, at what point did you fall in love with this film?
Well, since the beginning. In fact, there's this little magazine in France called Pilote. And every week there's 2 pages of Valerian. So you have to wait a week to get 2 other pages. And I try to explain that to my kid, who just click and he has like billions of information. That he has to wait, and he said, why? For pleasure.
And you're on record saying that you never thought it'd be possible for a project like Valerian to be produced. At what point did you think that VFX had evolved to the point to where, hey, I can make this into a film?
We bought the rights 10 years ago, and we say, okay, let's try. We were not even sure that we can. So, and we decide really to go 4 or 5 years ago. And definitely Avatar make things possible because the technology just evolved, you know, like come to another level. So and then Cameron leave all the tools, so now we can work with it. And honestly, after Avatar, the limit was the imagination. You can basically do whatever you want, in fact.
What was it like working with the creators of the comic book on this project?
It was how you say, intimidating?
Intimidating, yeah.
Yeah. Because they start working on Valerian 50 years ago, and they're 80 years old. And I was surprised that I tried to respect them a lot. And then one day, one of the 2, the writer, said, look, you have to forget the thing. You have to get out of the frames. I want you to surprise us. And I was very surprised because they were not like guardians of the temple or things like this. It was the exact opposite. And I think he did it on purpose because he wanted me to feel free. And but I want to respect the soul of the character since the beginning. I don't want to get out too much, so.
And there's a lot of detail, like we all just saw the film, there's so much detail that goes into pretty much every single frame. What was it like? Like, can you talk to us about some of the steps during pre-production?
Yeah, that was long. It was long. I think you have to start very modest and find a good artist to help you. You're definitely stronger when you're 2,000 than when you're by yourself. And to let the creative people to get in. I think when I did my first long feature film, I was 19, and no matter whatever you propose to me, before you finish your line, I say no. That's my film. No, that's mine. So I was controlling everything. The film, the poster, everything. And then, so I guess I was insecure. And little by little, you feel a little bit more secure. And what's interesting is, the more you grow up and the more you let the others participate, you want to share. You know that if you have a 200 kilo boxes to carry, if we are 5, it will be less painful. So you have to let the people come in with ideas, and they have to accept that there is a captain on board who will sometimes say, that's going in, that's not going in, because someone has to decide. But other than that, you're way more stronger and with the help of the entire team, for sure.
Can you share with them a little bit about the Bible you were talking about earlier? I thought that was very interesting, about the planets and the whole introduction, how you kind of showed that, but what they might not have seen on screen was you had a Bible for every single planet, and from the 70s all the way to current in the movie.
Yeah, the beginning of the space station is 1970s. We see it on the footages at the beginning. And the actual story is 2830, I think. So we write the entire history of the space station year by year. What happened, which alien comes, when, what they bring to the station. Regularly they have to change the entire system of communication, because like we have in the history, we went from the pigeon to the horse to the phone, the phone to the internet. So we have to reinvent through what we went from 2000 to 2800. And who bring us this technology? Because every time there's a big evolution on Alpha, it comes from the aliens who come with a new system. So we wrote that, so it's almost 100 pages. And then each alien that you see on the film, there is also 5 to 8 pages about the alien, where they live, what they eat, how they reproduce, what their specialty. And we have an entire, so at the end it's a couple of 100 pages that I give to the actors. So you have to learn that, and I will ask question to you next week.
Quiz.
They military. They need to know. They need to know with who they're dealing. And then I have a joke, because when they come on a spaceship, because they have the Bible to learn, and then when the first time they came on the spaceship, I said, I have the manual of the book how the spaceship work. And then they'd say, "You kidding?" And I say, yes, I'm kidding. He was afraid that he has to learn, the entire notice book, how this thing works.
Awesome. Well, you talked about the cast.
And by the way, even like each character, like Valerian and Laureline, their parents, where they born, first fiancé, how it happens, schools, everything. Everything is written, and the same about their mother and their dad.
Okay. So, casting. Can we talk about that for a second? Got a pretty diverse cast. Cara Dane, Rihanna is in it, Clive Owen. I didn't get a call. I don't know if you reached out to my people and they didn't hit me up.
You so protected, my friend, that
that's what it was.
I sent you tons of messages.
Okay.
You have such a range of people blocking the thing.
We gotta get David on the, Jason and everybody on the phone. Okay, emergency meeting after this. What was the casting process like?
My two first thing is ugly and cheap. No, I try, it looks very simple, but I try to find the best person for the part. And I try not to get influenced by, is it worth it? Is it better for promotion? Is it this and that? Because most of the time, and specifically recently, the last few years, I mean, look at this summer. There's a couple of actors who are paid between 10 and 20 millions and they can't open the film. So, it sounds for me better to take the right person for the part and to trust that. Or otherwise you take an actor famous, but by the time you finish the film, he went through 2 flops and his value is going down. So you never know. So choose the best person for the best part and you can't be wrong. That's my thing.
When you had
and honestly, there's a couple of journalists like, did you choose Cara because of their social media thing? And you're like, come on, man. She went through 15 hours of test with me. She cried. I take everything out of her, believe me. And I take so much out that the agent called me and said, Luke, what's wrong? And I said, what? Because she called me, she's crying, and she said that it was the most difficult thing she ever done in her life, and she's crying, and said, no, she got the part, she's good. So that was the process.
Is it ever, do you ever second guess yourself when you're going through casting? Because I remember seeing something on Fifth Element where you saw a bunch of girls and you're like, I'll think about it. And then there's another girl in the lobby. You weren't even casting at this point. The girl walked to the lobby and she approached you and she was like, yeah, I auditioned. I didn't get a call back. Sorry about it. And you're like, actually, let me double think that. Are there ever moments where you think, hey, let me just really think about what I'm doing? Do you ever second guess yourself when you're going through the casting because that girl walking to the lobby actually ended up being the girl we see on the screen?
So you're talking about Mila?
Yes.
So it's not exactly, it's almost right. It's not exactly like this. I have an official meeting with her as a casting in New York. She came, she was very nervous. She was like over makeup, shiny dress, like this. And the meeting when we were cool and nice, but not very attractive because I didn't see anything coming from her. She was too nervous. So I didn't select her, in the final thing. And then 2 weeks later, I'm in LA, in an hotel. There's a little swimming pool, and then guess who is at the swimming pool? Mila. And she's with a jean, a white t-shirt, a ponytail, no makeup, no pressure. And then say, oh my God, you're here. And then we took a tea, and after an hour, God, everything she was giving me was very interesting. And I said, what are you doing the next hour? And she said, well, nothing. I said, do you want to go and we film, we do some tests? She said, yeah, okay. So I took my little camera, and we went upstairs, and I pushed her for 2 hours. Like exercise. Then she started to cry again. And then in the end, I hired her. It's out there. If you guys want to see that, the footage is out there for you guys to watch. So let's talk back a little bit about Valerian. It's very bright, very vibrant. Most of the sci-fi stuff that we're used to seeing, aside from Back to the Future 2, very dark, humanity hates everybody, blah, blah, blah. Do you intentionally go that route? Like, are you trying to give your voice into, hey, I want humanity to be like this, I wish it was kind of like that? Is that what you're kind of subtly saying? Everything on the film is on purpose.
Okay.
There is no hazard. No, I think it's very strange because we know the past and we dealing with the present, and we don't know about the future. It's a white page. So why are we writing something so dark when in fact, I'm not saying our future will be for sure colorful and peaceful, but at least we can write it, and then we can try to make it this way. And maybe we will lose on the way, but why to start right away by saying it's dark, it's raining, and the hero doesn't know what to do and what to think? Man, come on, you're a superhero, you have superpower, enjoy it. Just go, have some fun. Put some colors.
My saturation way up.
So it's just that, it's just the envy of a, but it's a reaction of a moviegoer. I want to see my future colorful, funny and bright, otherwise I'm going to kill myself.
Can you talk a little bit about what made you want to be a director slash...
I don't know what else to do.
Is there a movie you saw? You know what, that's what I want to do.
No, not at all. It's not a film at all. It's the... okay, to go back just a little bit, I want to be a delphinologue, which is taking care of dolphins. That's what I want to do since I'm 9 years old. So I'm diving, my parents are divers, and I want to spend my life underwater with dolphins. That's it. It's very simple. And it took me a while to figure that out. I don't have a fin or anything, but... And then one day I have a small accident diving, and the doctor, who was actually very bad and not very psychologically trained. I was 17 and he said, "Oh yeah, you will never dive anymore in your life. Bye." And you're just 17, you know, and it's a big shock because you say, I don't know what else to do. And so I was kind of lost for a couple of months. And I really, honestly, don't know what to do. So I was in boarding school, so my parents were not there. So there's one day where I took a piece of left what I like, and on the right what I don't like. And that's the first time in my life where I realized that on the thing I like, there's a lot of creative things. It was almost only creative. And I was surprised because the creativity for me was just like, that's all I like, and I was not paying attention too much. But and I say, okay, creative, what can I do? Actor, no way. Painter, I'm not good. Dancer, forget it. Singer, oh my God. And the last thing left at the end of the list was director or film. And I said, let's try to find a shooting, you know, so at least I can be on the set just to see how it's working. So I was not even really aware of things, and a friend of a friend knew someone who was on a short film. So I took the train, went to Paris, and I arrived on the set, and I fall in love totally, deeply, in shock with the set, with the devotion of the people. No one was paid. And they say, "Oh, what's your name?" "Luc." "You're here to help on the film?" "Yeah, okay, good. Do this and do that." No one asking me if I have a diploma or where I'm coming from. They don't care. I was here for the film. Great. I'm in. And I was fascinated. So that was I stayed for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, and I went back Sunday night to my house. And I said to my mom, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do films. She said, yeah, sure. I'm going to finish school and then we'll see later. And I say, no, I'm going to make films tomorrow. I'm leaving. I said, no, tomorrow you go back to school, you finish, and we will see later. No, tomorrow I'm leaving. So on the morning I came with my little suitcase, and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm leaving, I'm going to make films. You're 17, all right? And then I left. And we were living at 11 kilometers from the train station. I said, can you bring me there? He said, oh, you're so clever. You're going to walk the 11, all right? So I walk.
Wow. Awesome.
No, it's not impressive. There's no choice. I was so trapped that that was my only escape. I was looking at that like a surviving thing. So, and I became very quickly the best assistant for sandwiches and Xerox. I was so good. Best guy for coffee. I know every technician. I know how many sugar. I know how they like it.
So let's fast forward a little bit from then to maybe present day, a little bit now. There's tons of stories in Hollywood where we have examples of studios and directors not agreeing on a vision. Has there been a time where a studio or anybody with power has tried to shift your vision, and how did you deal with that?
A few times it happens. I left.
Has there been a time where they're just like, so look, Leon dies, can we not do that? And you can like change their mind? Has there ever been a situation like that?
No, that's different. At the end, for example, Leon is a good example. I have a first version, was the long version, in fact, and I like the film the way it is. And then we did a screen test in US, and everything went very well for an hour and a half, 15. So I started to relax a little bit because, you know, people were there. And then suddenly there's one scene and one guy say, "No fucking way." And then 200 people stand up and leave. Half of the theater left.
What scene was that?
It was Matilda saying to Leon, "I want you to be my first lover." And then he's choking with his milk because he can't believe. And at the time, because it's 20 years ago, and I was in my head totally innocent. I mean, I thought it was funny because she obviously doesn't know what she's talking about. You know, she's 12. So it was more the situation, you know. And at the time, they take it from something weird. And so I was very surprised by the reaction. So it's true that this time I take the scene out because I don't want to have like half of the theater getting out. But I reintegrated in the long version after.
You know, honestly, I went looking for that. When I heard about there being two different versions and I heard about that scene, I was like, I gotta find it.
In Paris, I'm walking, and on the other way, there's this man passing me. Very tall, very big guy, a hat, dark glasses, 2 satchels. And the guy just passed. And when he passed, I said, we're in July, why he has such a coat? He has a coat for winter. And strange. So, and I turn and the guy get inside the building. So I follow the guy. And then the guy go in the courtyard, he take a stairs. So I take the stairs, I follow the guy, and then I start to think, what is in the satchel? And it's noon. It's very strange. And then I lost the guy somewhere, I don't know where. And then on my way down, I hear 2 gunfire. And then I start to think, say, okay, so the guy is a killer. What is in the satchel? And maybe he wants to kill someone. So maybe there's acid, in fact, in the satchels. And then maybe he's going to dissolve someone. Where will dissolve someone? In the bathtub. Because then you don't have traces. So that's how it works, in fact. So that's Leon.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Leon just for a quick second. That ending, I was a little kid when I first saw that movie. How? I remember thinking, Gary Oldman's outside, every floor has SWAT, there's no way he's making it out, there's no way Natalie Portman's making it out, they're not gonna get out of here. And you say you write everything by hand, so I'm really trying to think about how, because when I'm writing, I might have an end scene like, oh, let me change this, and I'll go back and I'll type, and then I can move things around, but you're doing it by pencil, so props to you on that one. How did you work that ending? Did you say, all right, so he's trapped up here, how do I get him out? Or, he's going to get out like this, now let me reverse engineer on how I tell that story. How did that ending all manifest?
Okay, so at the time, just before Léon, I tried to set up the fifth element. So the fifth element was on the studio waiting for an answer, and they asked for 2 weeks delay. And I don't want to wait for 2 weeks. So to think about something else, I start writing Léon, and I write it in 14 days, in fact. And I was almost finished. And then they finally say no for the fifth element. And I worked almost 2 years prepping the film, and I was very mad at my producer at the time. Very mad. And believe me, the end of Léon, I was mad. I was mad. So the first ending, he's dying, she's dying, everybody's dying. All these fuckers, the plant's gone. I kill everyone. And that was my ending. That's it. So I give it to Reed with my friends in Paris who helped me, and everybody was saying, "Oh, it's nice, it's cool." And I don't pay attention. And then my dad reads it, and he said, "It's cool, but is it really what you want to say to people?" So what do you mean? That there's absolutely no hope, and everybody died at the end, and that's it? Like it's dark? And I said, no, that's not what I want to see, to say. And he said, because that's what you write. And I read it again, and then, because a couple of weeks passed, so my fury went down. And then I said, oh, whoa, yeah, that's dark. Let's save one of them.
And the plant too.
Yeah, so let's save the girl and the plant also. So that's how is the ending now.
And the whole him hanging over as a little kid, when I saw, because like again, you see the SWAT going, pow, 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 drop, door cracks open. What is he doing? Where is he shooting these guys from? Just more SWAT going, pow, 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 door swings open. This Leon guy is a genius, or he's a ninja or something, like what's going on? Where did you get the idea of him hanging over the door? Where did that come from?
It's when you put yourself in his mind, and then I just go by myself in the apartment and looking everywhere and try to find how I will escape and how I will hide. So,
As a 9-year-old watching, that was my thought, like, this Leon guy's a genius. Like, I would have never thought to hang above the door like that. Okay, we'll move on from Leon. Let's talk about YouTube, because we're in the YouTube space, right? Let's talk a little about YouTube and YouTubers. We're almost done, like 2 more questions, and then this open field for you guys. So, do you draw any inspiration from YouTube? Because now this, like you were mentioning with your son, everything is at the fingertips. If you have any question on editing, key, green screen, it's on YouTube. Do you ever use YouTube for any of your work?
no. But I'm amazed by the tool. Amazed. I think that if I have this tool when I was 16, 17, when I start, I will be like, oh my God. When I start at 16, I have a Super 8 camera. I have to buy a film, 3 minutes without sound. And when I finish my film, I put it on an envelope. I send it to Kodak, England. It takes 6 weeks to come back. And then I have to put my 3 minutes here. And I have to turn it by hand, so you have to find the right movement, otherwise the guy is like, ooh, like this. And that's all I have. So 3 minutes without sound, it's 6 weeks. And today, You can learn everything, you can have all the advice with one phone and one program for editing, and then you take music on anywhere. And I'm amazed, you can do an entire long feature film now with a phone and a computer, and the young people are so lucky, so lucky, because nothing to stop them. And you don't need money so much. You can take the phone of your friend and your computer of your friend. Don't tell me you don't have a friend with a phone, come on. And so it's just about the storytelling. It's what you have to say, and so it's brilliant, brilliant. So I love the process, but I was too old already to use it properly in my process, in fact.
How do you think you would have used it? Do you think you still would have pursued the film career, so at 17, instead of being like, Mom, I'm out? Like maybe, Mom, I'm doing YouTube full time, and then I'm out. Do you think you would have probably used it in your progression as you evolved as a storyteller?
I think I will probably stay at home.
You're a YouTuber.
I will become a YouTuber for sure.
Excellent. Well, you just answered the last 3 questions there, so we can open it up now. I saw this hand first.
Hi, my name is Robert, and I'm a filmmaker. I have a question for you, Mr. Luc Besson. It's mostly on the writing, and I'm really curious to know, like, how you structure your scenes when you're on page 1 on a blank page, when you're adapting either a comic or wanting to do an original film, and do you have any tips on how to improve writing a script as time goes by? Thank you.
The first thing is the prep. In fact, I'm starting to write physically the script, like sequence number 1, enter your day, very late in the process. The first process is characters and what you want to say. Sometimes it's just a line. I want to talk about the craziness of the society. You don't know exactly where, you don't know how, but this is what you want. You start to write your characters, and you have to define where you're starting, A, where you're going, Z. And then after, I'm working with 4 acts all the time, so you have 4 pages in front of you, and then you filled up your 4 pages, little by little. It can take 3, 4, 5 years, doesn't matter. Every time you have an idea, up, you put it in, you know, and you have to build your characters, your storytelling this way on 4 acts. When you can tell the entire story, then I start to write. It's almost like if I'm printing. And then you write, and then usually it goes fast. I mean, for me it goes fast. But the process before that, it could be very long. And what we were saying just before is also trying to... It's not about sitting and I want an idea, what can I do? And, you know, I don't believe in that at all. If you have a problem or if you have a character, put some mathematics in it. We were talking about Léon earlier. When I start Léon, I don't have Mathilda at all. I have Léon, and I put in the front of Léon everything to make Léon react. A man, a woman, a father, a son, a neighbor, a young girl, a plant, a cat, a dog. And then one by one, mathematically, one by one, you writing the plus and the minus of each of them. And then you realize that the one who is the most interesting is the little girl, because it was very black and white, you know, tall and small and young and old and innocent and guilty, and you know, so then now you can play with that, you can make him react, and then the story is coming. So it's not about having a first line in your head and then wondering where you're going to go with it. It's honestly, if you start like this, it could take forever. But the most important is to be able to tell the story in a couple of lines. And it doesn't depend of, I'm telling you a story, for example, there's this young boy and this young girl, and they fall in love deeply, but unfortunately, their family hate each other. It could work.
Yeah.
You can write it, 16th century, you can write it in the future, you can write it in LA, in Paris, in a musical, it doesn't matter. But this line is very important, because that's the essence of the film. And if you follow that, then you can't be wrong.
Alright, let's go to the very back, the girl with the braids, it looks like. Hi. And give your channel a shout out too. There are some important people watching this.
Oh, well, I actually have a show on an app, and it's called Talk with Tayden, and I'm basically a video reporter, so yeah.
What's your question?
So this is based off of the French comic book Valerian. So how do you want this movie to relate to the old comic book?
I didn't understand, sorry.
How do you want the two to relate? Like, do you want this to complement the comic book, or how do you feel it complements it?
Like, how does he want this movie that, like, Valerian to, like, relate to the old comic book?
I think if you never heard about it, it doesn't hurt. But it's a source of inspiration. I mean, on the ladder, I have to go to these maybe 15 steps, and the comic book helped me to go from 0 to 1. That's it. After 1, I have 14 to go by myself. So if you knew the comic book, then you have a certain vision of the film, and if you don't knew the comic book, you just take it the way it is. So I see it like two different kind of expression also. Like, the comic book, you choose the pace. You choose to read it the way you want, and you're by yourself. Here, I put the tempo. So it's pretty different for me.
Excellent, great question. Right here in the red in the front, your channel and your question.
Hi, I'm Rod from RKBC. That's currently around. Thank you. I had a question. So you talked about how when you were 17, you were just kind of like, screw it, I'm leaving, I'm going to do this. And then now we're watching a movie you made with Rihanna as an extra. So as a musician, this is something we hear a lot. What were the middle years like? I know that's a loaded question, but maybe there's some key points, like, because I bet a lot of us in this room are in that middle period. Like, we all left, that's why we're in LA, but we're not hanging with Rihanna yet. So I'm just kind of curious of, like, are there any points of like 10 poles of hope you could give to the rest of us that are in the middle right now? Like, what were your middle years like?
I think there's I think you have to define your own honesty. Like what's real for you, what's important for you, but for the good reason. So when I did my second film, for example, called Subway, was in French, there's a moment where the producers tried to impose me a casting who was really, really not appropriate. Not. They were way too old. I was like 22. There's no way I'm going to work with these guys. It makes no sense. The only reason why they were pushing is because they were older and they were known, and they thought it was good. But they were making a mistake, in fact. And I knew it, I feel it. So I was not fighting for a bad reason. I was fighting because I really think that they were too old, and it was the right way to make the film. So at a certain point, I left. I said, you know, if you really want to do this film like this, no, I'm not going to do it. But I didn't sell the rights yet at this time. So when they say to me, we're going to make the film with these people, otherwise we don't do the film, I was courageous enough to say, yeah, I understand and I respect you, but it's me who's not going to make the film with you.
Wow.
And let's be honest, I get down this office and I cry for an hour on the street. Okay? So I was courageous for 3 minutes, and I was very sad after that. I end up to do the film with the cast I want. So what I'm trying to say is, it's up to you to find the limit. I never, ever, and I swear to you, I never look for fame, money, or whatever in this area. Never in my life. That was not my purpose. I have a story to tell, I was in love with my story, and I want to tell my story. And every time I have to take this kind of decision, I would rather not to do it. It's okay, it's life, you know. Too bad, but that's it. And that's where you have to, that's what you have to find, in fact. But I really think that it sounds probably cheesy, but I think if you're really waking up early and then you work a lot and you're true and then a day or another, I don't know when, but a day or another you will be recognized for that, for sure. So trust me on this, that's all I can tell you. So, and it doesn't matter if it's tomorrow or in 10 years, because during this time you do what you like. So
let's go to the back and
Great movie, by the way.
right behind you. Your channel and your question.
Don't worry about my channel.
Okay.
Great movie. There was a lot of movies that this movie reminded me of, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Avatar. Were any of those, did any of those bring those characters to life for you? Were you inspired by any of those movies? And if so, in what way?
no, and inspired directly, one more time, no, I'm never inspired by Avatar inspired me a lot on the fact that he was able to do it and to create it, and everybody was almost against him. And the same, he was like, he believed in it and he went to the end, and his vision is amazing. I was amazed at 16 years old when I've seen the first Star Wars, but when it comes to your story, I give you an example. You have to film tomorrow a scene in the kitchen between a son and her mother. Your source of inspiration, if it's Scorsese in '72 who make a scene in the kitchen between the mother and the son, you know, or Coppola in '71 who do also a scene, no. Your real inspiration is your mother and you in the kitchen. So that's the real thing. If you start to look at the thing, it's complicated, honestly. So I don't see anything when I watch it, but I respect your point of view. But when I watch Valerian, I don't see any other films, honestly. And by the way, the comic is from '72.
That's another thing. I was going to ask, do you think they took from Valerian's comic those other movies?
They probably get inspired, but that's okay. It's fine. It doesn't matter. We can exchange between ourselves, and it's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So right here, the young lady in the flowers, yeah? Your channel and your question.
Hi, my name's Tara from Drunk Hawkman. Check it out. So I was actually going to kind of broach the same subject, but since that's been covered, as we've already talked about here, I'd actually love to know about the fifth element in regards to working with Mila and what you had talked about with her really not speaking throughout the movie. Was that something that was always really important to you from the beginning of creating Fifth Element, or was that something that kind of was created and came about from watching Mila and the way that she embodied the character that you had written? Did you really direct her to do that, or did she do a lot of that herself and you kind of went with the talent that she portrayed in encapsulating Leeloo in this way?
No, I don't let the room to the actors. In fact, I mean, I create the thing. Sometimes I see little details in the actor that I steal to help the characters, and I'm always open if they want to, if they have an idea or something, and I'm always like ready to hear it, and if it's good, I integrate it. But that's not what they want. An actor wants to be a guide. He's happy when you know everything. And it was funny because when we start Lucy with Scarlett, and she has a lot of experience, and it's totally normal that she's checking the director if he knows what he's doing. Because she, I guess, been on a few films where they didn't know what they were doing. So I was waiting this moment where one day she said, by the way, about the past of Lucy, you know, where she's come from, I would love to know a little bit more. And I said, yeah, sure. Here, 15 pages about what you have done since you were 4 years old, and all your schools and diploma, when you get your periods the first time, everything. And by the way, here's 15 pages on your dad, and here are 15 pages on your mom. Other questions? But what's interesting is I have all these pages, but I wait. I wait for the actor to get skeptical or nervous, and then you reassure them. And by the way, when she got it, she was like so happy, and then the only thing I can see in her eyes for the next 6 months was trust. That was it, that was the end. I love them all. I think if a religion makes you better, or help you to make you better, I like it a lot. When a religion pushes you to kill people, I'm against. I think it's not the right sense of a religion. It's the reverse. But I like to, in fact, I love to play with it. I love the interrogation of it. I don't want to give answers. I like to just to push. Like you take Leon, the worst guy in town. He doesn't know how to read. He doesn't know how to write. He's a killer. The worst guy in town is the only one who saved a little girl. The parents cannot. The police cannot. The social people cannot. How is it possible that the worst guy can save the girl? I love the question. I don't have the answers, but I love the questions. So I love to ask the question in the films. Like in Lucy, at the end, the guy say where she is, and then the phone, there's this line, she say, I'm everywhere. The last person I know that who is everywhere and we cannot see is God. So, does it mean that when we arrived at 100% and then we can go backward and forward in time and we're not seen, is it an image of God somewhere? I love to ask the question. But I don't have the answer because I'm just a tiny guy on earth. But I love to ask the question.
I see. I thought that I'm everywhere is an atomic reference to see that the particles of energy is everywhere. It's a reference to say that the unified theory that we're all connected. That was my interpretation.
Yeah, but have you seen this film about the fetus of a man or a woman, but how it grows and how, in fact, at almost every day, he, almost like a computer who reinitiates everything. You basically have the shape of every animal we went through for a million years. And for example, there is a moment where the fetus of a dolphin and a human being is exactly the same, exactly. Like you cannot tell. So, like if we go again to like every evolution we got. So when we have this feeling of do we, this theory about having few lives and all this, and I think it comes from that. It's the fact that we have all this, DNA memory everywhere, and yeah, I think we know this for now, just this. I mean, some people know this. Me, I know this. So, yeah. So the questions, but not the answers.
I thought it was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And most importantly, thank you, Mr. Basant, for your